For about 2 years, here's how you got anything out of your coding agents. You wrote a good prompt, you gave it enough context, you typed a thing, then you read what came back, and then you typed the next thing. The agent is a tool and you are holding it entire time, one turn after another. That part is kinda over, or at least the people building these tools think it's going to be. Because if you look closely at what you are doing, type, read, type, check, you're not really the user of the loop. You are the loop. And that's the thing that is going to change. Here's how Boris Cherny, the head of Claude Code and Anthropic, put it. He said, I don't prompt Claude anymore. I have loops running that prompt and figuring out what to do. My job is to write loops. Also, Peter Steinberger, the person who developed OpenClaw, said, you shouldn't be prompting your coding agent anymore. You should be designing loops that prompt your agents. Okay, so what does any of that actually mean? Think about what you really do all day with one of these tools. You find the work, you hand it to the agent, you read what it gives back, you decide if it's good, then you pick the next thing, and you will do this all over again. Every one of those steps runs through you. You are the part connecting them, which means the whole thing can only ever move as fast as you can sit there and run it by the hand. So that means you're not using the loop, you're stuck in it. So here's the move. Loop engineering is replacing yourself as the person who prompts the agent. You build a small system that does the task, checks it, writes down what's done, and decides the next thing. Now think of it as a recursive goal. You define a purpose for your AI. AI iterates until it's actually complete. And honestly, it sounds too simple until you try to build one. Just before jumping to the main section, guys, don't forget to like this video if it's helpful for you and subscribe to my channel if you're new. A loop needs 5 things. And then one place to remember this stuff. Automation, worktree, skills, plugins and connectors, and lastly, subagents. 5 moving parts and 1 memory. Let's talk about them one by one. First is the automation. This is the heartbeat. Automations are what make a loop an actual loop and not just one run you did once. You give it a prompt, a project, and a cadence every morning, every hour, whatever, and it goes off on its own and it does discovery and triage while you're not there. The runs that find something come to you. The runs that find nothing just archive themselves. In Claude Code, you've got /loop, which reruns on a schedule, and a /goal, which keeps going until a condition you wrote is actually true. After every turn, a separate small model checks whether you're done. So the agent that wrote the code isn't the one grading it. You say something like run until all the tests in this specific folder is passed and the lint is clean, and then you walk away. Second is the work tree. The moment you run more than one agent, the files start colliding. 2 agents writing the same file is the exact same headache as 2 engineers committing to the same lines, and nobody talked to each other first. So the solution here is the Git work tree. It separates working directories so one agent's edit literally cannot touch, the others won't check out. It's the same as when you with your colleague are working on the same feature. The third one is the skills. A skill is how you stop re-explaining your project every single session. It's just a folder with a file inside, holding your conventions, your build steps, and rules. A skill is something that it's written down one time, where the agent reads it on every run. Because here's what happened without it. An agent starts every session cold, and it fills any hole in your intent with a confident guess. The fourth one is plugins and connectors. A loop that can only see the file system is a tiny loop. Connectors let the agent reach into the tools you already used, such as read your issue tracker, query a database, hit a staging API, or drop a message in Slack. This is the main difference between an agent that says here's the fix with a loop that opens a PR, links the related tickets, or message in the Slack when everything is done. The connectors are the actual reason that loop can work inside your environment. Without connectors, just your agent gonna tell you that if I had these connections, I would be able to do this. So without them, the loop cannot finish what it started. The fifth one is the most useful one by far, sub-agents. The single best structural move in a loop is splitting the one who writes the code with the one who checks the code, because the model that wrote the code is way too nice grading its own homework. So you bring in a second agent with different instructions, sometimes a completely different model, and you tell it, assume that work is broken and go and find the problem. And the reason that this matters specifically inside the loop is that the loop runs while you're not watching. A verifier you actually trust is the only reason you can walk away. Something that is interesting is that the architecture we are seeing here is the same as a reflector agent that we used to see around 2 years ago. In that architecture, we had an agent that was generating something and a reflector that was trying to fix the bug and improving the output of the first agent. And this was a loop around like n times. After that, the output was going to be generated to us or to user. The big gap in that architecture was that there was no specific goal and there was no specific rule. Now we know what's the goal and we define that for the agent, we have the instruction, and as long as that specific of accuracy or the goal has not been reached, this loop is going to be like active until the agent reaches to that accuracy we are expected. This is the big difference and a big improvement in the last 2 years. And finally, the sixth thing is the memory. This one sounds too dumb to matter, but it's the spine of the whole loop. It's a markdown file or a board, like anything that lives outside of the single conversation and holds what's done and what's next. The model forgets everything between runs. So the memory has to live on the disk, not in the context window. Tomorrow's run reads the file and picks up exactly where today's stop. The agents forget, but the repo doesn't. So let's put it together, because the pieces only really click when you see them run as one thing. An automation fires every morning on your repo. Its prompt calls a skill that reads yesterday failed test, the open issues, the recent commits, and it writes all of them into a memory file. For each thing, the loop opens an isolated worktree and sends one subagent to draft the fix. A second subagent review that draft against your skills and your existing tests. Connectors open the pull requests and update the tickets. And anything the loop can't handle, it lives in an inbox for you. The memory file is the spine. It remembers what got tried, what passed, what's still open. So tomorrow morning it picks up where today left off. Now look at what you actually did there. You designed it one time, you didn't prompt a single one of those steps. Now the honest part, because I'm not here to sell you anything. The loop changes the work. It does not delete you from it. And 3 problems actually get sharper as the loop gets better. The first one is that the verification is still on you. A loop running unattended is also a loop making mistakes unattended. The second one is that your understanding rots if you let it. The faster the loop ships the code you didn't write, the bigger would be the gap between what exists and what you actually understand. And the third one, which is the most dangerous one, is the cognitive surrender. A loop would be a cure when you design it with a clear judgment, and it would be a headache when you design it just to avoid thinking. So it's the same action, but it would be opposite result. And that's the strange thing about loops. 2 people can build exact same loop and get completely opposite results. One uses it to move faster on work they understandably, the other uses it to avoid understanding the work at all. The loop doesn't know the difference, but you do. And that's the reason why loop engineering is harder than prompt engineering, not easier. The work didn't get easier, the leverage point just moved. So go ahead and build your loops. But don't throw away the prompting either. Talking to your agents directly still works. It's about balance, and whatever you build it like someone who intends to stay the engineer, not just the person who pressed the go. Build the loops and stay engineer.